Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be when the trust is broken. Think about that for a minute. Guys, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So trust, what is trust? Trust is something that all healthy or stable relationships are built upon. It's the foundation of the relationship. Trust is something that needs to be earned. Trust is something that allows you to believe in somebody and or a relationship. And it allows that other individual, let's say it's a two-way relationship, to trust you and for them to believe in you. When you are in healthier relationships, trust is imperative. It's exactly believing in somebody, believing that their word is exactly what they're going to do. In other words, if they tell you they're going to do A, B, and C, they do A, B, and C. And if they make a mistake, they will own up to it. In a narcissistic relationship, trust is misleading because you most likely were trusting. As a matter of fact, you were when you first entered the relationship. You were trusting in this individual who turned out to be a narcissist. What you did is you fell for the mask. Now, any individual who wears a mask and or portrays themselves to be one person when in fact they're somebody different is not trustworthy. The point of that is the narcissist knew this when they met you. They knew that they were going to manipulate you. They knew that they were going to mirror back what you wanted to see in them to you. And trust was something that they believed that they could get you to trust in them. And guess what? It worked. Now, the whole time when you were in the relationship, you were trusting that that individual, whoever you're thinking about right now, or individuals, that they could be trusted, that they would keep their word, that they were authentic and or genuine people. We now know that these people aren't. They're empty shells. They are toxic individuals who want to destroy you, to extract your resources from you. And they want you to continue to believe in them, continue to believe that the mask that they wore and or perhaps are still wearing, that is the real self. It's not. It's just an illusion. It's a person who is not authentic, that isn't genuine, who can't introspect, who is not trustworthy. So when the trust is broken, and this happens not just in narcissistic relationships, it happens in virtually many different kinds of relationships, let's put it that way. It's very difficult to repair it and or replace it. Now, in a narcissistic relationship, no, there's no trust there. You were trusting, you were giving to a fault. You were being manipulated, you were being taken advantage of. You and your resources were being decimated each and every day from the minute you met the narcissist up and until the relationship ended. And even after it ended, you still had a mountain of work in front of you to put yourself back together, to understand the glossary, the terms, the definitions in the narcissistic abusive cycle, and you had to trust in yourself. This is a beautiful thing. It's not a pleasurable thing to go through post-narcissistic relationship, which means it's not enjoyable to have to pick yourself up by the bootstraps, dust yourself off, and understand that you were with a narcissist, or that perhaps a lifelong friend turned out to be a narcissist, or maybe it's your coworker, your boss, your neighbor, a person in a community that you are a member of. Keep in mind, when the trust is broken in a healthier relationship, it can be repaired if two people are willing to do so, and the one person that perhaps broke the trust is accountable, and they can take ownership and or responsibility for what they did, and they can make amends by perhaps showing the other individual that they mean it, that they are trustworthy, that they did make a mistake. That's possible. In a narcissistic relationship, it is impossible. Bear in mind, the narcissist wants you, the individual watching this video, and again, thank you very much for being here. They want you or wanted you kept in the narcissistic fog, which is where you were trusting in them, which is the narcissist. You were believing their false narrative. You were believing that basically your life's purpose was to keep them up on the pedestal and do things for them to the detriment of yourself. That is exactly where the narcissist thrives. They thrive in two areas. One is the love bomb / euphoric stage, when they are having you believe, they're having you trust in them, and they ensnare you in their web of lies and manipulation. And the second part is the narcissistic fog, or the devaluation period, which is, again, when it's a zombie-like trance state you are existing in. It is a very deep, dark hole you find yourself in, because when you are in the devaluation stage and or the narcissistic fog, Believe me, you've become an extension of the narcissist. You've lost your identity. Your resources are being depleted. You have nowhere to turn to. Most likely you are isolated, perhaps even in a new town, city, or country, and you have nowhere to turn because you don't know what narcissism is. But getting back on track, the narcissist, this individual, they are not trustworthy. They have never been trustworthy. Keep in mind, the narcissist is a bully and a coward. They live on fear. They live on the smear campaign. They live on their false narrative. They thrive on individuals who don't get the awakening and or the awareness on the narcissistic abusive cycle, which again, most likely the person you're thinking about as you're consuming this video, whoever that narcissist turned out to be, that person right now most likely is with another source and or sources of supply that don't have the wisdom that you're getting. They just don't. Because anybody who gets the education on the narcissistic abusive cycle, they close the door, they block the narcissist, they go no contact, they delete the narcissist, they remove all flying monkeys and people associated with the narcissist because they know how deep of a hole that relationship put them in. Perhaps they were financially abused. Perhaps they experienced future faking. Perhaps they got married and the day after they were married, they entered the narcissistic fog. In other words, the narcissist, the mask already slipped on the day after they got married. And again, they didn't know what to do because they didn't know about narcissistic abuse. They had no idea. But when the trust is broken, it's broken and it cannot be repaired in a narcissistic relationship. And I'll tell you why. Because the narcissist, many times, they will try to hoover you and or try to get you back. This can be a week later, a month later, a year later, a decade later. It can be a lifetime later. The point is, when the narcissist is running low on supply and or people to pump them up, many times they try to recycle individuals and or past relationships. Why? I'll tell you why. Because number one, the narcissist is lazy. Number two, because they know that they ensnared you in the web of manipulation once in the past, that it's so much easier for them to try and do it again in the future, which is why you don't accept a hoover. Remember, if you did not get hoovered, it's a great thing. If you did get hoovered, my hope is you declined it, turned it down, and you're living your best life. If you did accept the hoover, please drop comments below because you know exactly what I'm talking about, that it did not benefit you. It only got worse over time. Having said all these things, remember, the narcissist wasn't trustworthy. If they were, they would not have worn a mask when they manipulated you. They would not have proclaimed to be person A, B, and C when in fact they were person X, Y, and Z. In other words, they were a completely different person. Here's a small example for you. Say you lived with a narcissist. When the front door would open, who would be there? Would it be Dr. Jekyll? Would it be Mr. Hyde? Could you trust that that individual would come home in a relatively stable peace of mind on a regular basis? No, you couldn't. That's why you were walking around on eggshells. That's why you were being gaslit. That's why you got the silent treatment for days or weeks or months on end. That's why you were stonewalled every time you tried to have an intelligent conversation. That's why when you were talked to the narcissist, you would get word salad or blame shifting. The whole point, there are so many definitions and terms in the narcissistic abusive glossary. These things happen to you. Understand that you can't allow them to happen to you again. And the path is blocking the narcissist and going no contact because you can't trust in them. They are not an individual who deserves your trust. You gave that relationship everything you had. I know for a fact you did because you're on the channel right now and you're learning, you're becoming awakened and aware, and you're sharing your experiences and insight with the community, just like I am with you. But then the trust, once it's broken, it's broken. It can be repaired in a healthier relationship. In a narcissistic relationship, once you get the wisdom, you can't trust another individual like a narcissist. There's no way. It hasn't benefited you in the past. It certainly won't in the future. Remember, any relationship you are in, anyone, part of a community, an organization, a neighbor, a sibling, a lover, a friend, whomever, a colleague, if these relationships are not reciprocal, which means they don't benefit you and they're only benefiting the other individual, they're not good for you. They will not change. What they do is they deteriorate over time. They get worse and worse over time. And remember, every narcissistic relationship has an expiration date. It sincerely does. It's just a matter of time when it ends. Will you end it? Will the narcissist discard you and will they end it? Will you stay trapped in the narcissistic fog and or the devaluation stage? My hope is that you've exited the relationship on your own terms and you have moved forward and you're living your best life. Of course, after you've healed and or have processed the relationship and that this was a massive life lesson for you. Remember, there's no such thing as a coincidence. You had to go through the relationship. It was a part of your path. You can't change the past. You can't predict the future. The only thing you can do is live in the present moment and continue to become the best version of yourself possible. So when the trust is broken in a healthier relationship, sure, it can be repaired. If the two people are willing to work on it, it can. And I'm sure you have relationships that you've experienced that with. In a narcissistic relationship, because the narcissist wasn't authentic, they're not now, they never will be, and they're always manipulating people and trying to take, and when they're done, what are they doing? They're trying to take more. That's why they don't deserve your trust. You can't bank on them to keep their word with virtually anything, because they want to decimate you, they want to take from you, they want to belittle you, and they want you not exiting the narcissistic fog and certainly not living your best life. So guys, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are. Remember, you are not alone. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you. Have a great, great evening, morning, or afternoon, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Remember, trust in yourself always. You are the priority. You come first, second, and third. Pay attention to red flags. Trust your instincts. Trust your intuition, and become the best version of yourself. If not now, when? God bless you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right. Bye, guys.